So, South Korea continues to drive the Olympic peace process. Amidst the criticism that North Korea is only going along for the ride to ease economic sanctions without giving up its nuclear weapons, South Korean President Moon Jae-in's persistent outreach efforts to reduce tensions with North Korea helped bring about the North Korea's participation in the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics in the south, and the pause in Pyongyang's provocative missile and nuclear tests. In a joint gesture of reconciliation, North Korea and South Korean Olympians marched together under special unification flag at the opening ceremony on Friday. Kim Yong-jong, the sister of North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un, also visited the South for the Olympics. She is the first member of the ruling Kim family to visit the South since the division of Korea at the end of the World War II. While meeting with Moon, Kim conveyed an invitation for the South Korean president to visit Pyongyang for a possible leaders summit. There have only been two previous leaders summits between North and South Korea. The last one happened over a decade ago in 2007. Kim Jong-un, who came to power in the late 2011, has yet to meet a foreign head of state. On Tuesday, Kim Jong-un said that he wants to foster the warm climate of reconciliation and dialogue with South Korea following the successful visit of the North Olympic Game delegation, according to the North Korean state media. This easing of inter-Korean tension is the direct result of President Moon's diplomatic persistence and indicates Kim Jong-un's willingness to respond to constructive engagement, according to John, a North Korean analyst with Yonsei University in Seoul. There will be many bumps along the road, but we are seeing real political will in Seoul and Pyongyang and clear messaging, said he. Engagement skeptics, however, see Pyongyang's openness to dialogue as a deceptive ploy. North Korea is manipulating South Korea very effectively. I think before too long, President Moon is going to find that he runs into a brick wall, said regional security analyst Grant Newsham with the Japan Forum for Strategic Studies in Tokyo. North Korea's Olympic cooperation skeptics say is aimed at undermining the U.S. maximum pressure policy to force the North to change its behavior with increased economic sanctions and the threat of military force without making any meaningful concessions to end its nuclear program. In the last 2 years, North Korea has accelerated its weapon testing and made considerable progress towards developing a long-range nuclear missile that can reach targets in the U.S. mainland. Pyongyang insists that its nuclear deterrent is needed to defend against a possible U.S. invasion. The administration of U.S. President Donald Trump has sent mixed signals as to its willingness to engage in talks with North Korea. Vice President Mike Pence, who led the U.S. Olympic delegation, emphasized on the need for increased sanctions, while in South Korea and was unwilling to even greet Kim's sister at the opening ceremony. But after returning to Washington, Pence said the U.S. might be open to unconditional talks with North Korea, while at the same time keeping up pressure through sanctions. The South Korean Foreign Ministry on Tuesday said Pence's new openness to talks, along with the need for continued pressure, reflects the joint position developed between Seoul and Washington. Both South Korea and the United States have cooperated with each other to lead North Korea to the table of dialogues for denuclearization, said the Foreign Ministry spokesman. No. If the Trump administration is serious about pursuing denuclearization talks with North Korea, it will likely to have to refrain from threatening fire and fury like the rhetoric and be prepared to offer significant concessions. You have to be ready to make real compromises. You have to recognize that the North Koreans feel under threat. They are under threat. We have hostile relations with them, and you have to find serious ways to reduce that level of threat so you could get them to reduce their threats towards us, said the man. The U.S., however, demands North Korea make a firm commitment to halt its nuclear program before official negotiations to end sanctions can begin. The U.S. did agree to postpone joint military exercise with South Korea until after the Olympics to help ensure there will be no provocations during the Games. There has been speculation that President Moon will seek to cancel this year's joint drills in the spring. If the North holds off on further nuclear and missile tests, such a compromise could reduce tensions in the short term, but could also weaken international support for sanctions enforcement against North Korea without resolving the long-term nuclear threat. Anything like a phrase for phrase or postpone of exercise does cause a loss of momentum. So I'm sure this is throwing the Trump administration for a bit of a loop, said newsman.